I have a story for you today. So, picture this. You are on the road going home, talking with a good friend on the phone, and you notice it's raining, and there's sun that's just starting to come through the clouds. And you know, based on your own experiences in the past, that this means there might be a rainbow somewhere. So, you think about it, you mention it to your friend, oh, I'm going to keep my eyes open for a rainbow. There's sun coming through the clouds and it's raining. And you drive and you hit a stoplight where you need to turn right. You know, you're not really looking for a rainbow at this point, but you turn right and right in front of you is the biggest, brightest, most vibrant, beautiful rainbow that you have ever seen in your life straight in front of you. You didn't need to look for it. You didn't need to do anything than your normal routine. It just was there on your path, as bright as ever, like the biggest rainbow that you have ever seen. And it's one of those that goes all the way across the sky. Like you see the full arch, and you are driving towards it, and it dims a little bit, and then it gets even brighter than before and clearer. And it's like you're driving towards and like underneath it almost at the same time. And you get to see that rainbow for a good bit of your trip before you have to turn away from it and down the road in a different direction. But in that period of time, you are witnessing one of the most beautiful things about nature that you've experienced in your life thus far. That was me not that long ago. That just happened to me um, an hour or so ago. It was the most magical thing, turning and seeing this beautiful rainbow. And the reason I need to share this, one, is because it's so beautiful. Like, that was so fun. And those things have to be shared. But also, it's just so symbolic. Um, I've been going through ups and downs recently, this weekend, and today especially was a day where, it was a rainy day, it was cloudy, and I was feeling cloudiness in my soul as well. I was feeling in just a little more negative and just having more doubting thought patterns and things about just some situations that I have in my life right now. And, I know that these things pass, but, in the moment, it can feel like you're really stuck in that sometimes. Like stuck in the doubting or wondering how things are going to fall into place, those kinds of things. And so I just noticed this about myself and today. And I've been, working on kind of giving myself space, but also like pulling myself out of that space as well, right? So you have time, give myself space, give myself grace, but then also noticing, okay, like I don't want to stay in this space forever, so let me go and try to, make a slight tweak, a slight first step to help me kind of get back into myself again, kind of back into like the vibe that get out of the what like the cloudy kind of vibe, right? And so it was just so funny. I think I mentioned before, but I play organ and I also sing at church, and it's just a beautiful outlet for me to continue to do music. I love doing music in that way. And so today I was singing, and coming back from church is when I saw this rainbow. And um, so before I went though, it was like super rainy, and I was feeling cloudy. I was running late and, because I had been trying to take a nap a little bit earlier because I'm also just tired more recently. So I tried taking a nap, and that was somewhat restful. And then I got up and got ready, and running late, it's something that I sometimes do often, something to work on. But I, got in the car and I just took a moment. Like, have you ever felt those moments where you might feel like I just need to be for a minute? Like, even though, like, for me in that scenario, I was running late, like I just still felt like I just need to sit for like a minute, 30 seconds, and just zen. And like, whether that's like grounding or praying or just being still, or like there's so many ways that someone can look at that or can do in that moment of just existing. But just taking that minute, like following that urge to just be in the stillness, like that in itself was so helpful, to help me reset a little bit. And then I also had just been building a playlist, a music playlist earlier today, so I put that on, instead of maybe what I would normally listen to in the car. And so just making those little tweaks, really helped with helping me start to, feel more myself again. And then during church, and I promise I'm going to wrap all of these little experiences up too, but I just feel like so much happened today, and it's just such a beautiful analogy, of how to navigate, and really kind of work through and experience life through all these different ups and down moments, right? And so I was in church, and I've been struggling with, allergies, this season, this spring, a lot more than previous springs or previous years. And so I was feeling like the phlegm build up in my throat. But last week, the phlegm kind of just kept getting worse, and I felt like it was harder and harder for me to sing. And then this week, kind of the opposite happened, and I noticed there was a point where, I was starting to feel some more of those doubt, kind of, I just noticed it as an old thought pattern that I've had in the past, or just old insecurities. And I noticed them, and I just said to them, nope, I'm confident. I am, I'm here. Like, I don't remember even, I think I just said I am confident, like maybe even just that affirmation in my head. It wasn't anything crazy, but just that act of just kind of noticing that old thought pattern and just saying like one little affirmation in my head just really helped me switch out of that energy like almost immediately. And my throat started to kind of clear up throughout the mass too. And it was just so helpful. Just noticing, like when we witness life, when we are in a state of noticing the moment, whether that is just existing, like I did in the car, or just noticing like your body, what your body is telling you, if you're hungry or need extra sleep, or in that specific moment there was a lot of things going on and I was thinking about a lot of different things, but I still noticed that old thought pattern in that moment and was able to make a slight switch, and it helped like a ton. And I just think it's so beautiful, and it's kind of crazy how quickly we can like switch out of things. Like it's so beautiful, and it's kind of crazy because you feel like, okay, if it's so easy, then it should feel easy, right? But so often we feel so stuck, but we're really not. We're really just like one tiny tweak away. But that tweak or that first step like feels like the hardest thing sometimes when we are in like those moments, when we are in those feelings, when we are in those old thought patterns, doubts, insecurities, whatever it is. So I do want to I'm going to give you just a couple of more tips of how you can get out of that. So just different things that I've learned in the past. But but I just really wanted to share my experience today because that was like the lead up from, where I was feeling earlier today and then during church while I was singing and then coming home and that rainbow was like just came out of nowhere. And I'm also, going through some transitions in my life right now. And so with that, it comes with uncertainty. And that's not always the most comfortable thing to sit with. Although I feel like it's so beautiful in itself, being able to sit with that uncertainty, because that really I feel like makes you be in the moment more than, when you're in just your routines of life. So I'm personally trying to really milk that, like just be in the transition and be in the moment and like be grateful for that season in itself. But even when you are in like your routines, if you're not going through a transition, if your day to day is kind of like the same, right? Um, Being in the moment of the mundane, of like the things that you just have to do every day, right? And they might seem trivial or they might seem annoying to do sometimes, but bringing yourself back into that moment can make all the difference. And that made me think of something. Ooh, it'll come back. It made me remember something and then that went away. So, but I also have to share there was kind of along with nature recently, like with the rainbow and it's springtime right now at the time I'm recording this, and where I am right now it's spring. And so I've just been noticing like animals a lot more. The birds are coming out. There were three vultures that like landed in my yard earlier today. I rarely have ever seen them up close, and they were just like right there. So I feel like nature has been speaking to me recently of just really helping me to draw in to the moment and just see the beauty. And again, like that kind of imagery of that rainbow over my path when, I'm busy talking to my friend. I'm like noticing the sky, but I'm not really looking for a rainbow yet. I just, I'm just being in the moment, and then it just appears. Like it's just there, and that is just so cool. And so I feel like that's been happening with like birds just being here, like being in front of me randomly, or um, the other day I went on a walk for the first time in a little while that I went to this one area that has some like a beautiful walk through the woods, and then it's by a creek as well. And I didn't try this, but I ended up going at a time in the evening where I was, the sun was coming through the trees, like filtering through in the most beautiful ways. Like at the whole walk, I just kept seeing like rays of sunshine like filtering through the trees and like making really cool like patterns and shadows on like the plants around me. Like it was just so beautiful and like just so crazy how just the act of me taking that action of going for a walk, which took me a while. I actually had wanted to go on a walk like the previous day, actually a couple days, and I kind of just kept other things kind of kept getting in the way, quote unquote, like it was just easy to push it off, right? And so when I did go though, like it was just so beautiful. Like me just taking that one action and getting out. I didn't have a plan of how long I was going to be out. I just was. And like, oh, there were so many beautiful, beautiful things that I saw on that walk, and that I just like felt so, just so good, like being out in nature, right? Nature is so healing. But just walking through and noticing, again, I feel like those things just help draw you into that moment, draw you into the present. So I would encourage anyone who wants to, if you want to try to witness life and slow down, right? I feel like life is meant to be lived and it's meant to be witnessed. It's There's so much beauty, and obviously we have things to do, right? We have to get in our productivity mode, right? Um, but it can't all be productivity mode or go, go, go mode. Um, it's just that's not how we're wired, and that's what leads to burnout and all the things. But being able to just come back to the moment and being able to witness life, like whether that's, if nature is something that helps you naturally do that, then it's like, okay, just noticing nature, even if like going on a walk is logistically difficult for you or anything like that, just noticing the leaves in the trees as you're driving by to work. Like just using that one in to help you be in the moment. And another thing that has helped, and something that I've learned from different people in the past as well, is just starting doing like the very first step. This is kind of like a helpful strategy, like an executive functioning strategy as well, or for anyone who is neurodivergent especially. It can be so hard for task initiation, and if you are able to do think about the first step of something and then make it like 10 times smaller or 100 times smaller. So for me, one example is like if I'm watching YouTube, which is like I don't have really social media, so I don't really have the option to scroll a ton except for YouTube. So I do like even with just one social media app, I find myself just like being in the scroll a lot sometimes. And so just the act of like I don't have to completely stop cold turkey and like get up from the couch and go do a thing. Like that's a lot of steps if you think about it. But just maybe switching over to YouTube music. And so I'm still playing something, but it's something that might naturally help me get into a different mode. It's really finding whatever trick that helps you kind of change the channel on like what you're tuning into. So it could be making the tiniest swap of, okay, I'm listening to a video, but let me just switch over to like this playlist that's like a little, that's just like a jam for me. And that will just naturally help me want to get up and like switch into a different mode, instead of like forcing yourself to get up. Or one thing I've learned from some ADHD content creators as well on YouTube is, for people who have trouble like just getting up in the morning. Oh, this is what I remembered from earlier. Sunday scaries. So I'm recording this video on a Sunday, and I started having the Sunday scaries earlier as well when I was feeling doom and gloom, feeling the cloudiness. And I usually don't experience Sunday scaries. It's something I've done a lot of work to just be in a different state with my job and with all the things. So like I don't normally get Sunday scaries. So I was getting Sunday scaries earlier, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that again, like just a recognition of like, this is not typical me at this point. And so it's just like some old doubts, old thought patterns, old feelings coming back. And if you don't know, Sunday scaries, I think a lot of people know what it is, but just in case, Sunday scaries is, if you work a typical Monday through Friday job, people can like feel the dread on Sunday before having to, the end of the weekend before having to go back to work. And I just feel like it's just such um, like I don't want to say like a sad way to experience life, because I also like I've been there and I totally understand it. Like I get it. So like I just feel like life is meant to be lived and witnessed, and not like the Sunday Scaries is just such an example of, such a great example, I feel like, of kind of what we experience, that, kind of takes us away from those abilities to just be joyful in the moment, right? And so I felt those earlier, and um, but like one thing, if you're sitting there feeling dread, or if it's, on the couch or something, or if it's hard to get up in the morning, like you're dreading going to work, you know, I know that's a lot of people's realities. And like, and it can be really debilitating. So just literally like wiggling one part of your body, wiggling your finger, wiggling your toe, and then just trying to like get that movement, going up your arms or up your legs, and then you're initiating that movement, right? It's kind of like the science like framework of it, where like an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest. So you can think of it that way, or you can think of it as just changing the channel. It's like you're tuning into a different radio frequency of like, okay, I'm in this state of being and I'm trying to get to this new state, whether that's like getting up, or just trying to bring yourself into the moment if you are scatterbrained or really stressed or whatever it is. You're just trying to get into that new state of being. It can be so hard in the moment though. So take the first step of what you're trying to go into and like dumb it down like 100 times. So getting out of bed, you don't have to get your whole body out of bed. Start with literally just like the tiniest bit of movement in your body, and then that will start the momentum. So yeah, so that's like one of my tips there too. So it could be that, it could be switching the videos to the YouTube app, or to the music app was another example. Let me think. I'll let you know if I think of any more examples. But yeah, it's just like figuring out like the very, very tiniest first step, and giving yourself grace through it, because so many people have difficulty with that. Like, whether that is through, just for a lot of different reasons. But so many people have difficulty, I feel like, just being in the moment. And a lot of it is just a lot of what, our environment is set up as, is it's hard to do that. It's hard to live life that way. When there's just so much noise, so much stress, so much things to do, so much productivity, so much pressure, all of the things. So just really, I just implore you to witness life with me this week. There are some beautiful things. You might see a rainbow just dropped on your path. You might see the sunlight dancing through the trees if you just do that first step of just getting out of your door. Like you might be able to experience, this is another example for me today, experience like seeing people feel so at peace with, for me, it was like through my music. There was one song in particular where I looked up and I could just see people just feeling the music. And that's like the biggest reward of doing music for people. But you see the peace in people. You see the music touching them, and it is the most beautiful thing. So, me going through my normal schedule, like that was a scheduled thing, I was able to, even though, it's an off day or whatever, like I was able to witness that. So you're able to witness the good in people, witness someone doing an act of kindness, witness someone having a rough day. And you can just notice that, even if you're not able to help or whatever, like just witnessing that. And on the flip side, another thing that goes along with this is just remember that you are witnessed as well. Like, you're not alone. If you feel like you're alone or that people don't notice me, people notice. I can attest to that. I'm someone, there's different phases in my life where um, I felt like my voice wasn't being heard or my actions are not being seen. But there have been tidbits that I've gotten maybe after the fact where I'm like, oh no, like that was heard, or people did see me, even though, maybe they weren't in a position to really say that, or like you never know. But I feel like way more often than not, people see you. And so like that's a beautiful thing, that people see like your goodness. People see um, the things that you do, just because. And you don't do it for recognition, but people see you. So life is meant to be witnessed. You are witnessed. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I just want to leave or wrap this up with one song that's been going through my head. It was going through my head when I was recording one of my earlier videos too, of just about slowing down. And I would love to sing it, but YouTube. But the song Feeling Groovy. And it just goes, slow down. You're moving too fast. You got to make the morning last. And that just perfectly encompasses like all these vibes. I think it goes kicking down the cobbled stone, looking for fun, and feeling groovy. So let's be groovy this week. Let's look for fun. Let's witness life. Let's see those rainbows. Let's see that sun. And just know that you are witness as well. So until next time, bye.